Good morning. We are about to enter the afternoon. So, every one of you on the platform of Business World, thank you for the introduction. So the keynote address which I am supposed to be giving here as per the organizer's decision is on the last mile connectivity, that how we go about delivering the services of the social schemes and programs of the government to the last nook and corner of the various difficult terrains and difficult marginalized people. So this is how I am going to just share my practical experiences which I have learned from the cutting edge level as I worked in Puducherry, Goa, Delhi, Arunachal Pradesh. Now since government major responsibility impact schemes, the social welfare schemes of the government is the biggest challenge of the government, whether it is in the sector of health, education, or it is in the sector of other kinds of like social welfare programs to uplift the marginalized section, disabled people, and to weaker sections of society. So all these schemes are designed to deliver. But what it has been seen that like out of the research which has been done by the Niti Aayog, that whatever the schemes that we design and we implement on the ground, the very less of it is delivered on the last mile. And by the time it reaches the beneficiary and the targeted group, so much of the leakages has happened, and therefore the government is working. The government has utilized and leveraged the technology to deliver the schemes and social welfare programs. So out of now, over the period of time in the past 10 years, government has evolved into using the various applications of software and tools of AI and the technology which are evolving. Now since we have been using the data analytics, and also we have been using the digital public infrastructure which is created by the government, and also now in the last 2 years we are also using the ChatGPT, that is the generative AI, to deliver the schemes of the social welfare programs in the government. Now I will just wanted to mention here about the kind of digital public infrastructure which has been created in India over the past 10 years, that we have created the identity in the form of Aadhaar, which has also which has allowed us to shift all our financial sector in the UPI, in the digital domain. And then we have also created the Aadhaar identification, the biometrics of the various targeted and beneficiary groups, and which has helped to deliver the schemes and programs without any leakages and without any kind of like whatever we were having, whatever kind of the inefficiencies that were coming into the picture, we have been able to got over it. But still there are challenges. Now since I have worked in Goa and I have also worked in Puducherry. Now these are the two places where we constantly experiences cyclones. Now what happens is that when we are tiding over the disaster management, all of a sudden we do not know that what kind of situation we have to meet. Now and in this, whatever the digital images that we receive from the satellite about the beneficiaries, what we have done is that we have placed it in the ChatGPT, and we have asked that how many people, how many beneficiaries are present in this particular context and this particular area. Now in one of my experiences, the ChatGPT said that there are about 2,000 people who are present as per the satellite imagery. But so therefore we have arranged for the programs, we have arranged for the necessities of shelter, of food, for out of that particular input that we have received from the ChatGPT, and then in reality it was 2,200. So likewise, the technology can be leveraged while we are tiding over the disaster management, while we are tiding over the emergency management in the government, and also in the delivery of the schemes. But then there are issues regarding the ethics, regarding the privacy, and regarding the morality as to what we are doing with the data that is being collected in the government, and that is being collected out of these household surveys that we are doing. Now since I was also holding the charge of economic and statistics, so now initially what we were doing is that we were just physically going each household to each household, and we were just collecting the data, and then we were classifying it, and then we were categorizing it. So it was a very physical, tedious, manual job. But now with the help of all these tools, technology, analytical tools and application software, what now we are doing is that we are using these tools to collect the data from the household, and the data which is being collected is very good quality in a granular form of each household, whether we want the data of a weaker section of society, disabled, women, children. So this is more granular and this is more disaggregated. Now these data which is being collected, then they can be designed, they can be used, they can be analyzed, collected, classified to design the schemes and programs in the government. Now I would like to quote here the various studies about the United Nations that has taken place, because United Nations is the agency which is using various kind of their embassy programs and also the programs which are being done in the crisis areas. Like for example, one of the studies that been mentioned in the United Nations is about the Turkey, the earthquake of the Turkey. Now in earthquake of the Turkey, what has come that those mission critical teams which go in the site when the earthquake has taken place, they were not having any idea, and moreover in the social sector the resources are also very much reduced. Now they were not having any assistance. So now what they did, but they had to deliver these all kind of aid and the programs and the various kind of other utilities to the beneficiaries or to the targeted groups. Now what they did was they used the ChatGPT and the generative AI and the AI to come out and scroll various websites to collect the data and also the various mobile data, and then they correlated all the data to each other, and then this is how they were delivering the aid in the crisis prone areas. Likewise the same has happened in Syria and in Lebanon. So therefore there are so many instances across the world where the application has come to the rescue of these kind of rescue mission groups when they go to deliver the urgencies and to when they go to deliver the aid programs of the government or of these agencies to the crisis prone area. Now, but then there are some issues. Here also I would like to quote few other examples from the other countries which we in India are adapting in our own terrain. First of all, there is Estonia and UK. In Estonia, they wanted to tide over their unemployment problems, because so what they did was they made their database inoperable. So that means that the data from social welfare department, from the women child department, from the other departments of unemployment and so many other departments, agriculture and manufacturing, all of their data was put together and then it was correlated and it was being designed and it was analyzed and it was find out some kind of judgments and conclusions out of that. And now there are 60 parameters and 60 variables which could be culled out of data, and now the Estonia is on the verge of doing the predictive analysis of any kind of unemployment that might exist. Now they are observing their unemployment on day-to-day basis, that this particular day are we going to experience any unemployment. So this is how the technologies are coming to our rescue. And when we are now, the same thing has happened in the United Kingdoms when they were solving their problems of homelessness. Now there, as we know that during the winters also in Delhi, now we wanted to tide over the problem of the homelessness, and we want to bring certain people into our rain baseras. So what we do is that we take the data from all the departments and then we try to correlate and then we make it inoperable. So all these things, we are able, new mixes and matches that we are able to do with the help of technology is really very exciting, and we are really able to deliver on scale, and moreover, due to this predictiveness of this particular technology, on the basis of data that we are able to do, that we are able to prevent, as the previous speaker also has said, that we are able to generate more empathy, more compassion, and we are able to predict and analyze and prevent the kind of losses that might happen in the future. This is really very exciting, and this is only the delivery that we can get out of this technology of AI tools and generative AI. So now the other countries, they are also implementing their social welfare and schemes now in the part of government as a participation of various workshops. When I go, we always try to discuss and deliberate upon what are the other kind of applications that the other countries are doing. Now in the other countries in United States, what happened is that when they were implementing their social programs, they found some kind of anomaly. They find some kind of discrepancies, that the data that the right delivery was not going to their particular beneficiaries in target groups. So what happened was, when they checked, then they found out that their data governance was not very much up to the mark. So therefore these are the AI AI is also the black box. AI is also equally, prone to all kind of hallucinations which we experience daily while we are operating on it. And for to tide over this, what we have to do is that we have to keep our data strategy upright. We have to see that the data which is there is valid, it is relevant, it is integral, so many other aspects. So data is really the key out of which the applications are pulling out its oil, as you can say, or the inputs, because we are saying that whatever is the input, the output will also be the same. So likewise, while we are implementing the AI technologies, since we all have seen that movie called Robot, in which Rajnikant was acting as a scientist. Now what has happened in that in the first version of his robot, who was Chitti, he was listening to all what he was saying. But in the second version, what happened was something hallucinated in Chitti, and he became berserk and he became haywire. So likewise, we have to see to it that our AI tools and softwares, these thinking machines, they don't go and they don't perform, in the berserk manner, and they are in the control. So therefore, humans have always need to be in the loop while we are implementing all these kind of unmanned thinking machines. It is only meant for augmenting, it is only meant for supporting us. It is not meant to take our roles. So likewise, while we are delivering it in the last mile connectivity in the field, what we do is that we always take Anganwadis, we always take common service centers, we always take NGOs, voluntary organization in the loop, because they are the people who have the sense of what is going on in the ground. So while we are delivering, we are taking the help of this direct benefits transfers, these cash transfers, while implementing the distribution of the food grains, and also while giving the benefits to the various stakeholders and the entitlements to the various beneficiaries. But then we have to see that the systems are working well, and they are only assisting us, and they are only supporting and augmenting our scale. So because it has been over the period of time, we have seen that in the last nook and corner of the country, we are able to deliver through the utility of the digital public infrastructure. But then ultimately, these are the machines which require AI governance, which require cyber security protocols, and which requires data governance also. So likewise, so here I would like to, what are the various difficulties which we are facing on the ground in India, specifically in India, while we are implementing the AI in our social welfare schemes. First of all, each state, each union territory, and each department, they are having their own data governance policies. Now they are having their own equipment as per the budget which is available with them. They are having their own softwares. Now some people are very digitally literate, so what they are doing is that they are updating their softwares, and they are even procuring the good hardware. But it is not the same with all the departments. So therefore, while we are sharing each other's data, we are not interoperable. Interoperable is the key. Interoperability is the key while we are implementing these social welfare schemes, while we are sharing the data from each other. Now, if the banks, if the insurance companies, if these agriculture societies and cooperatives, they want to share all their data together, and I want to pool all their data so as to come out with some schemes of agriculture, I will find it very difficult, because they are not very much inoperable in nature. Now, secondly, the second problem which we incur is that while we are delivering the awareness programs and the capacity building programs, but still we see that there is vast gap in the digital literacy of the people. Some people are really engineers, some people are taking some ITI programs, so some people are technology holders, but some of them are not at all very much literate when it comes to usage of all these digital tools. In this, those old generation people, women, weaker section of society, differently abled people, they are coming into picture. So what the government is doing, that government is also, while they are going to the common service centers to avail the benefits, government is also has floated the digital warriors. What are the digital warriors? They are the people who have done their internship from the engineering college, and when the government is also giving them the certificate for the internship and apprenticeship, and when they come, they help these people to latch on to the tools and gadgets of the government, and also to avail the programs, the benefits, and the entitlements of the programs. So now the third difficulty which comes is the cyber security. Now the surface area of the tools and digital tools has become so wide. Now it is not only the enterprise who has to keep in touch with the cyber security. Initially what we were having the closed loop. So the enterprise was just maintaining its own cyber security program. But now with these smart city projects, these IoT devices, then each person is having mobile in their own hands, and now they are using in the form of apps to connect with the government, like Umang scheme is there, which is about the apps of all the social welfare schemes of the government. So now when each individual is coming to my platform and using my platform and getting connected, getting logged in, what happened is his instrument, all the viruses of his instruments are getting transferred into the main system, the main security system. So likewise, the surface area has become very wide. The authentication vulnerabilities have increased so much. And if the government goes for so much of authentication that yes, if you want to log into my devices, you have to go for first-hand authentication, second-hand authentication. But in the process, I am losing on my social welfare and schemes. I am not able to reach out to vast number of people. So likewise, we have to keep a balance, a trade-off between, like authenticity, cyber security, also security protocols also, and also that the people are very comfortable in logging onto my devices and instruments. So there are various, checks and balances we have to exercise while we are delivering the social welfare schemes on the government, because India is lacking the resources. India is still a developing country, and though it is, fourth largest economy in the world, but still when it comes to, implementing each and every social benefit schemes to each and every, person, the disabled and disadvantaged, to bring about regional parity, to cure any kind of inequities in the society, we need that. We have to really go to use the data which we have used to the benefit of the society at a large. So these schemes are ongoing in nature, and government is really implementing these digital public infrastructure that has been already created in the form of data sets, in the form of Aadhaar identification, in the form of biometrics, and in the form of various UPI transaction, and most of all 1 billion instruments we are having in India. Our population is very mobile friendly, and we have to go by apps, we have to go by common APIs if we want to approach to the people. So likewise, the technology is evolving daily, and the government is using ChatGPT, generative AI, LLM models, everything to leverage AI for its benefits for the delivery of the social welfare and schemes. So I think the time has, I'm run out of the time, and I have been able to share few of my experiences which I have gained from the ground at the cutting edge level experiences. And I thank the audience for giving me the patient listening, and the organizers for giving me the opportunity to come here and share my experiences. And the deliberations are still going on, and I think every one of us are going to get more enriched while we are deliberating for the whole topic, for the whole day on the topic of social impact. So thank you so much.